I just walked off the practice field here at the team facility, and this will be a very welcome sight to 49ers fans. Mac Jones was getting in the zone, dancing a bit, when Trent Williams almost ran him over. Mac had a sidestep, big number 71, back out at practice for the second straight day, warmed up with the 49ers, and then when they broke off into position group drills, Trent Williams started doing some sprints on the side with the trainer. Still had his helmet on, and it all looked like it was part of Trent Williams' plan today to manage the hamstring injury that he suffered on that first play against the Chicago Bears. So good news for San Francisco on that front. They need Trent Williams on the front against the Philadelphia defense that has a 40.2% pressure rate. Yes, big number 71 is important.
You feeling confident?
Yeah.
No Ricky Pearsall sighting today after he was in his jersey working off on the side, even catching some passes on Thursday. Pearsall officially listed as questionable. Here's what Kyle Shanahan had to say.
Does Ricky fall into the boat of a player didn't practice this week who would have a chance to go on Sunday?
Yes. Yeah. Ricky's been doing this year. Jake's just different. He hasn't. This is his first practice this year. Was this week. He didn't get any in training camp either.
And we don't have to keep beating a dead horse, but I will say that Pearsall in that lineup, if he is able to go for the 49ers on Sunday, would really, really help with some of the separation issues. The Eagles, the best team in over 10 years defending in-breaking routes. A completion percentage of only 51% against Philadelphia on those in-breaking routes. Pearsall can break in, he can break out. Brock Purdy actually is the highest rated quarterback in the NFL on out-breaking routes this year. Ricky Pearsall expands the field, creates the separation that you need as a 49ers offense to make Philadelphia pay for how much they do like to gamble on some of those inside routes. Another piece of good injury news, Keion White, 49ers defensive lineman, whom they acquired a week ahead of the trade deadline. He missed the first two practices of this week with a groin and a hamstring injury, kind of like last week. He missed the first two with a hamstring injury, but Keion was back out there, number 56. Didn't look like he was fully participating, but he did play against the Seattle Seahawks with the same type of practice week pattern. So I would expect Keion to be available. This is an elimination game. All hands that are available to give the 49ers quality football need to be on deck. So having Keion available at practice today, a good sign for San Francisco. At linebacker, D. Winters was not practicing, so the ankle injury has kept him out all week. He was working off on the side, but it is trending toward D. Winters not playing for the 49ers, which means at linebacker, you obviously have Eric Kendricks taking over as the fourth starting Mike linebacker of the season for San Francisco. But that weak side spot, well, it might be Keion White. That's where D. Winters has started this year for the 49ers. It seems that the 49ers don't want to start White just because he just walked into the building and may still need to pick up some of the playbook, but I would not be shocked. I would even expect them to elevate him from the practice squad so he could be in uniform for this game. And then at that weak side spot, it'd be either Garrett Wallow or Curtis Robinson starting, with Keion White having a solid chance to play in this game, just given how it's gone at the linebacker position, given how it's gone in general for the 49ers this year. They have suffered so many injuries, and they're now on their fourth Mike linebacker. It wouldn't be shocking to see them move on to their third weak side linebacker of this season. Speaking of Eric Kendricks, he said it best the other day. He said that this was going to be an eat your vegetables kind of game. What does that mean? Well, it means that the team that does the best on first and second downs through some of the more boring aspects on the checklist, they're going to be better positioned on third down. And when you look at some of the numbers, especially from the 49ers perspective of how they can overcome their status as underdogs, third down is where I think they can sneak their way into a win in this game. The Eagles rank number 21 on third down defense, which is actually worse than the 49ers. The 49ers are number 20 in third down defense. So Philadelphia, for as good as they've been defensively, they have not been good on third down. But again, you have to eat your vegetables on first and second down if you're the 49ers offense. The Eagles have given up nearly 5 yards a carry on outside zone runs this season. They gave up, 300 rushing yards against the Chicago Bears. That was their worst defensive performance this season. The point is that the 49ers, with Trent Williams likely back, are going to have to run to the perimeter and capitalize on first and second downs on the Eagles' susceptibility against those outside zone runs, because that could set the 49ers up for success against Philadelphia's defense on those third downs. The 49ers' third down offense this year has been the best in the league. They've converted 49.8% of their third downs, even with the bad performance against the Seattle Seahawks last week. That was 2 of 9 for the 49ers against Seattle, and it's something that they absolutely cannot have again in this game. The thing, though, is that Seattle's defense is transcendent. You can see that they're significantly better even than Philadelphia's defense. So even though the test is similar for the 49ers this week, I would look at the game at Levi Stadium here last Saturday against against Seattle, and say that was a much better Seahawks defense than anything the 49ers can possibly face the rest of the way this year, outside of a potential rematch against the Seattle Seahawks, of course. So they've got to be better on third down, and I think they can be better on third down since Philadelphia has struggled in that regard, but it's going to come down to first and second down execution. On the other side of the ball, the Philadelphia offense ranks number 24 in third down conversion percentage. Number 24, they haven't been good as an offense this year. And they're talking about this being the game where things finally wake up and click for the run game, for Jalen Hurts in the pass game, because the 49ers aren't good defensively. And I get it. If I was in Philly's shoes, I would approach this game with a similar mentality. But if the Eagles haven't been great offensively for 17 games, there at least is some window of opportunity for the 49ers defense to deliver on the opportunism that has allowed the team to get this far. The 49ers red zone defense this year is ranked number 12. They're number 27 in yards per drive allowed, but they're number 12 in red zone defense, the 49ers are. Their third down defense also hadn't been terrible. As I said, they've been number 20. They've actually been better than the Eagles in that regard. So the point is that the 49ers third down defense, number 20, ranks better than the Philadelphia third down offense. And if you're trying to win at very specific spots, if you're not good enough to stop the yardage from flowing against you, and I don't think the 49ers are, but you're trying to win at very opportune spots, the performance of this Eagles offense, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley down to 4.1 yards per carry this year from 5.8 last year, A.J. Brown's discontent, I mean, everything about this matchup suggests that the 49ers will have a window of opportunity to at least slow the Eagles down. Now, Lane Johnson is back for Philadelphia. It's a really good offensive line. This is the highest paid offense in NFL history. I've mentioned this now on a couple shows. Every single position group has a guy with a big contract on this offense. Talent-wise, the Eagles should be better, but they don't like their offensive coordinator, at least the fans don't. In Philadelphia, they don't like Kevin Patullo. They don't like how this offense has dropped off ever since Kellen Moore left to the New Orleans Saints after the Super Bowl championship run last season. And the 49ers are going to give this their best shot with a new middle linebacker. And that, to me, the reason I wrote about this on the San Francisco Standard this week is because it's a huge deal. Eric Kendricks has seen a decade of football. He could understand which gap to fire. Just based on instinct. Because he has the experience of knowing how offenses attack, and there's pattern recognition at play there, I think that the 49ers can get better at a position that has really struggled. That is the linebacker spot that was just firing the wrong gap way too many times over the course of the stretch run of this season, and especially against Chicago and Seattle. Again, the Zach Charbonnet touchdown, the only one scored here at Levi's, was a result of Tatum Bethune firing the wrong gap, leaving a massive, massive opening in the D gap, and Jair Brown then trying to take care of Bethune's mistake, but while he was doing that, he got eliminated by the tight end instead of staying outside. Of course, Malik Mustafa also took a poor angle downfield against Zach Charbonnet, but everyone has to play team defense for the 49ers, and it starts with the Mike linebacker, who's the ringleader of the defensive effort. And I think with Eric Kendricks in there, the 49ers stand a much better chance of building a bridge back to the first Mike linebacker of this season, Fred Warner. There is a real chance that Fred Warner is back for a potential divisional playoff game, but the 49ers have to get there first. They have to overcome their status as underdogs here against the Philadelphia Eagles to get there. And, tomorrow, and I'll go through a whole viewing guide later, tomorrow, crazy things can happen. Carolina has already beaten the Rams at home. If they can find a way to do it again, I'm not saying it's likely, they're 10.5-point underdogs, but if they can find a way to do that again, and if the Green Bay Packers can serve as favorites over the Bears, yes, the Packers are favored as expected over Chicago, well, then all of a sudden the 49ers will be playing for a chance to play Carolina, a team they've already beaten by multiple scores in the divisional round. Or the 49ers will be playing for a chance to have a rematch with Seattle or the Rams. And the Rams would be a home game because that would be down at the 49ers' second home stadium, SoFi. Anyway, the NFL playoffs are about to get crazy because they're going to be crazy from the very get-go. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch some of these games tomorrow. And one of the wildest possible twists, which might be on brand for this 49ers season of resilience and redemption and all of the above, would be a 49ers win in Philadelphia, the same spot where Brock Purdy tore his elbow the last time the 49ers played a playoff game there, and a return of Fred Warner. Maybe if there's a way to undo this injury hex that the 49ers are going through, it would be to get Warner back in a season where he was initially ruled out. But there is a real chance that he returns. The 49ers just have to get there. That is the key for San Francisco. Nearly 4 decades ago yesterday saw the anniversary of the 49ers' epic win at Chicago in the NFC Championship game. 1988 season, January 8th, 1989. It was nearly negative 30 degrees with that wind chill effect coming off of Lake Michigan at Soldier Field in Chicago. Nobody thought the 49ers could win. Everybody thought it was Bears weather. It turned out it was Joe Montana, Jerry Rice weather. 49ers won the NFC Championship game 28-3 against Chicago, advanced on to the Super Bowl where they beat the Cincinnati Bengals in much warmer conditions. That was in Miami. Anyway, I think that a lot of people forget that these Super Bowl teams faced a lot of adversity on their way to championships. The 49ers of that 1988 season actually had a game where they scored only 3 points at home. In case that sounds familiar, this is home for the 49ers, and they just scored only 3 points against the Seattle Seahawks this week. But back in 1988, they lost a game at home 9-3 to the Raiders. It wasn't to a historically good defense, it was to the Raiders. The 49ers lost 9-3, and then they ended up winning the Super Bowl, dropping 28 on Chicago in a game that saw its anniversary yesterday. So the point is that these seasons are long, they are novels. Every single week is a chapter of the novel. It is not the entire book itself, and the 49ers have to be ready to write another good chapter. I have another example for you. 94, 49ers won the Super Bowl. They are dominant at the very end. Steve Young, 6 touchdown passes. Mike Shanahan thought that he should throw 8, but George Seifert yanked Young early. 49ers lost 40-8 to the Philadelphia Eagles early in that season. I believe it was week 4 or week 5 at Candlestick, and Young was mad for getting yanked out of that game by Seifert too, but for different reasons, because Seifert didn't want him to get too beaten up with the 49ers behind by so much, and he was trying to yell at George Seifert. He had a meltdown on the sideline. 49ers overcame adversity that year as well to win a Super Bowl. Sometimes the most obvious path is not taken. Like in 2023, it was fairly obvious. The 49ers were a juggernaut, yet they didn't win. This year, I drove by AT&T Park last night, those of you who watched the live, and I said the Giants in 2010 had to face the hard path. And they had to go through the Philadelphia Phillies, and they definitely weren't favored, and they had to win Game 6 in Philly. For the 49ers this year, yeah, the odds are stacked up against them, but some of the greatest runs, like Peyton Manning's Super Bowl run for the Colts in 2006, he had a defense ranked in the 20s. And it was just a scrappy path that he had to take. I think he threw 6 interceptions and only 3 touchdowns in the postseason, yet the Colts won the Super Bowl in that 2006 season. It's obviously not likely for the 49ers to go the distance, but it is possible. I have picked the 49ers to lose this game, but not by a lot. I think it's going to be close, and I think that there is a realistic path to victory, even if it has to be a greasy win like the 2021 divisional round game against the number 1 seeded Packers in the ice at Lambeau Field. There's always a path. There's always a chance for players to forge their legend, even if there is injury catastrophe that the 49ers have had to overcome this season. So they're about to fly off to Philadelphia. This is what happened in the locker room before the 49ers boarded the buses that took them to their big 777 charter at the San Jose airport. We'll have much more for you over the course of the next several hours before the start of this game. But this is the final injury report with Trent Williams ready to go, nearly running over Mac Jones.
I should be, we'll see. We'll see.
You feeling confident?
Yeah.
Can you compare that to how you felt a week ago this day?
Yeah, definitely more confident than how I felt the week ago.
When did you know that you'd done something? It's not obvious as you're kind of chasing down that Bears defensive back.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I never had a little hamstring. When I felt it, I kept running because I didn't really know exactly what it was, and then as I started to slow down, it kind of started to get a little more consistent, and so I kind of realized I did something.
You know how fast you got on that play? Miles per hour?
What was it? It's close to like 18 or something. I don't know, 17 something. I'm like, I don't know.
It's not a Trent Williams record, though.
No, it's not, but it was in like 15 yards or something. From a cold start, I think it was just like sitting on the sideline for the 45 minutes, from last time we warmed up to actually, the game started.
Snap.
So.
What's the major challenge in facing this Eagles front?
You see it, they're tops in the league for a reason. Big guys in the middle. It's like just a huge collection of like 5-star recruits. Like a bunch of first-round picks, all just blue chippers, and they play well. Obviously, that environment is crazy. It's hard to hear, so that adds another element to it, and they feed off of it. And just a big physical bunch.
Seattle game was rough for everybody, but in the Chicago game, Austin Pleasance went in and did a pretty nice job. What kind of job do you think he did? Did you?
I think he did a great job.
Yeah.
I think he did a great job. Yeah, for sure.
Trent, can you maybe recall like your first time going to Philly? I know Shanahan just talked about it. You're sleeping on the bus. They threw an about it.
Yeah, that was. What was that? 15 years ago. Every time you go in there, it's eventful. You're gonna see some middle fingers. You're gonna see a lot of stuff. So it's pretty fun.
Is that fun when you have a game like you guys did in 23? When you go back there and?
Oh yeah, anytime you can go play as well as we did in that game, it should be fun. But obviously, there's a little history there. I think that kind of, in my mind, kind of died down a little bit. Obviously, that was a few years ago, but. It's still going to be an electric environment, going into the belly of the beast.
Given your start with Washington, how much did Juice's speech about not taking the playoffs for granted resonate with you? Maybe you weren't there for it all.
Yeah.
He basically said he addressed the team saying, don't take getting here for granted because just making the postseason is tough.
Yeah, I think that was probably after practice. I think I was in here doing some treatment or something. Yeah.
What are your thoughts just on getting there?
Shoot, I've been in the league close to 20 years. I probably count on one hand how many times I've been in the playoffs. So I definitely never take it for granted.
Trent, did you have like a hamstring routine for 37 years to avoid
No, never. I just do the regular stretch,
Okay, yeah.
Usually us big guys don't usually have a problem with that. But.
Right, you don't have to open it up that much.
Right, yeah.
Is it, you do have to, you're getting out there. You are moving, Is it, let me shoot the question. Is it a concern, playing with this on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a little bit of concern. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of pushing the limits on the time that's required for it. So, obviously, it'll probably be in the back of my mind for a little bit. But if I get out there and juice to get the flow and adrenaline, I don't think it should be a bigger problem.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Trent, thank you. Good luck.
I go earlier in the buses, but I used to not get my own ride there before I was a head coach. So I do remember going there maybe the first time because my head was asleep on the bus window and then I thought it got shot. But it was an egg hit in the window and it actually shattered it somehow with an egg. Maybe it was hard boiled. But yes, be ready.
But we're game planning for that, and we look forward to the challenge.
It's a lot. So you just mentioned a lot of things.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, running the ball, Jalen Hurts, etc. Do you try to take away one of them, or how do you fight against all of them?
Yeah, I mean, you try to find ways to stop everything. You obviously separate things from down to down and situationally, but they're a playoff team for a reason. They have those weapons just like we have weapons, and we're going to do everything in our power to stop them, just like they're going to do everything in their power to stop us.
Following 2 straight short weeks, was it beneficial to have an extra day, not just for rest, but to get a full speed practice in this week?
Yeah, it was awesome. Going 3 weeks in a row without having our normal schedule obviously throws things off a little bit, but it was nice for us to get that extra day and have the full week to prepare.
Sorry if I didn't ask this, but has it been difficult to sort of piecemeal this linebacker room together with the new additions and just guys going down?
It's just different. You got to adjust on the fly. It's the league. We've been dealing with injuries all year, so it kind of just feels like what's natural to us now is kind of who's up next, and it sucks. I feel really bad for Tatum because I feel like he hasn't been getting enough praise and credit for how much and how well he stepped up for us. I think it's really difficult to do that, and I think whenever the season is over for us, we'll be able to kind of look back and really appreciate in a better way what he really did for us and for the team. But we're going to go out there with what we got and give it our all and execute as we can.
I know he's been around the facility, but when you see Fred yesterday and on the practice field and you think, all right, if we win one, maybe we get this guy back. Like, what does that do to your guys' mantra and just spirits?
We miss Fred a lot. Me on a personal level and obviously as a defense and as a linebacker group. But I'll let Fred kind of speak and dictate on when his return table is.
When a new guy like Kaiser comes in, how involved are you trying to help him pick up the playbook, get up to speed? Does he lean on other guys in the room for that?
I think it's a group effort. We're all in there trying to learn as well, and we try to talk through it in meetings as best we can to try to make sure everyone who's new or old can help understand as best they can, and obviously he'll probably lean on the coaches as well for extra help and stuff like that.
And then, given all the injuries in that room this year, is there an even bigger emphasis on interchangeability as far as making sure the Will and the Sam? Like, does everybody have to know those, just given how thin it's become?
Yeah, given the circumstances, that is kind of the situation that we're in. It's one of those things where you obviously, even in a situation where everyone's healthy, you don't know how the game is going to shake up. You could lose 3 guys in the first 3 series, and all of a sudden, guys who haven't played those positions now have to play. So that's kind of the mindset throughout the whole year since we've been having to rotate, but definitely this week.
Does that extra day help with cohesion with new guys filtering in?
Say that one more time.
The extra day that you had this week, does that help with cohesion and trying to get everybody on the same page going into this game?
Yeah, definitely. When you have an extra day to prepare, it gives you an extra day to iron things out and, just smooth out details and stuff like that for sure.
What's the greatest concern going into this game?
Making sure we win.
All right.
Thanks, Travis.